good time. Come and have a good time. Come and have a good time. Come and have a good time.
The cosmos is also within us. We're made of star stuff. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself.
What's up, everyone? My name is Trinoc, and with me is Naori Mizuki, and we are here with the ATK Spotlight Arena. And I know the time said 1 minute left to go, but the teams took their time, and now they're rushing us to get into the lobby or game or something. So we're gonna go through with it. It is Attuned taking on Team Mist. How are you doing today, Sam? Sam? How are you doing today?
Oh, I didn't hear you even speaking. My
I
internet
said a
was doing
whole bunch of things.
I didn't hear.
Well, I'm not
any-
repeating a single word.
Fine, be like that. I do think it's quite amazing that as you go, Sam, that's when my internet comes back and it's like, yes, hi, yes, I'm here, hello. So as I'm assuming, Jason told you all, it is Attuned versus Team Mist, and given that I have no idea what he said previously, I'm gonna barrel on ahead and hope to God that I don't say the same things he said.
I didn't say much.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That sounds like you, Kappa.
Wow. You talk so much when if there's nothing happening, it's just Naori. It's all Naori time. I say 5 words and now I'm the one who talks too much.
It's Naori time all the time, Jason.
No.
All right, so we are here on Nepal, and we've got Attuned versus Team Mist. These are two relatively lower seeded teams in the whole VSG situation, and obviously we bring that across now to the Spotlight Takeover, and that makes it perfect. It makes this competition absolutely perfect for them, given that it is the under 3k SR range. Some of these players are actually fairly unknown in the ZA scene. I know particularly Team Mist, they've only been around for a short amount of time. I think they formed at the beginning of the year, and they haven't been able to compete much in VSG due to various circumstances. So we haven't really been able to see too much of what they're capable of. Attuned have been around for a while, but they've been through quite a few roster changes over the past few months. So hopefully this iteration will stick. Coming through here onto Nepal, it looks like we're going to have some interesting compositions. I'm seeing a little bit of honor goats coming from Team Mist, which I like to see. It's a good composition to run. Over on Attuned, looks like they're going for a spam composition, and I'm happy to see that they are running the Mercy with the Pharah, and I think that the spam can do very well against that Goats composition, especially because Team Mist are running the Anna instead of the Moira.
Why is that good?
Because Moira has more healing output than the Anna, particularly in spam damage fights.
Alright. Here we go, that's what I wanted. Jago jacking straight into this fight with the Pharah, just going to be spamming onto that point as a few seconds before it unlocks, but no one really gained any sort of foothold in this fight just yet. Trizzle looking low on health there, might be in a little bit of a rocky situation, and now it's time for Attuned to pounce as Jagged Jack gets rid of cool dressing, and that's just going to open up the space perfectly for them. It's only the tank of Mr. Falcon left on this point. He's being punched away by Dovius, and that's going to be the first cap going to Attuned.
The speed at which Jagged Jack just built up that barrage is quite insane. To do that in one fight is just, it's on a whole nother level, to be perfectly honest. And wow, a nice early pick off there from Salty. It's gonna force the res. I was gonna say it's gonna force them to reboot, but no, it's gonna force the res. They did swap off their Anna for a Pharah. The Anna did have nano boost, so it's an interesting choice to make. Now pay attention to Attune, because they do have the Earth Shatter, and they're about to have Bob as well. If they can combo nicely, then this next fight should go to them, unless that happens.
Yeah, Metal Snow doesn't really care too much about an Earth Shatter when he's up in the sky. Takes the fight to Jagged Jack, and there's a double Earth Shatter going down on point. That gets rid of Mr. Falcon. The rest of Team Mist goes down as well. And now it's just Rayel and Trizzle trying to just hold on to this fight and make sure that Metal Snow has some space to work with. He does get rid of the Anna, but he is alone, afraid, and that's going to be it for this fight. But it doesn't seem like he wants to give up here, Samus. He just makes his way back and gets a one cheeky rocket. And now he's running with his tail between his legs.
If he actually manages to get away, that's actually quite huge. If they had killed him there, then that would have been a big stagger. And he's just basically cut into my talking time, because now there's a fight.
Oh, that's too bad. We can't say lots of words again this time. Cool dressing gets taken out by a beautiful Bob in the earth. That was a self-destruct that Team Mist needed. That goes 3 for 3k. Team Mist have the numbers on point. Dovius looking low. About to get hammered down by Mr. Falcon. Trizzle takes him out instead. And that's going to be the flip for them. finally get a foothold with a very well-placed self-destruct.
Now, what's interesting is that in the fight before this fight, Dobvius threw out the Graviton Surge after they'd already killed about 4 or 5 people. Had he had that Graviton Surge for this fight, they may have been able to avoid what just happened. Unfortunately, they had no answer to Team Mist and everything that they brought to the table. Now, however, they do have a Graviton Surge of their own, as well as 2 support ultimates, one of those being the Beat. Anything that we see Attuned bring to the table can be countered. Even the barrage can really be dealt with fairly quickly with that self or Fever Matrix, but it doesn't look like they're going to need any of their ultimates.
No, not right now. Metal Snow having a bit too much fun in the sky, taking the fight to Jagged Jack right now. But he's truly being a pivotal member of the Team Mist lineup as they once again regain control and put Kit Kat in a very awkward position.
Very interesting Valkyrie here from Ren. Took them a very long time to finally start engaging, but they are on point here, Jason, and they're going to try and flip this back.
Yeah, Bubble's on point. She's going with the Earth Shatter into Graviton as well, but the barrage, and that's huge. Lots of ultimates thrown out by Attuned onto this point, and it does work out for them in the end. But one can hazard to ask if maybe they could have held on to a few of those.
They absolutely should have held on to some of those ultimates, especially the Graviton Surge. The Beat was alright. I can understand why they would need to use that, but that Graviton Surge was just excessive. And we are moving into the last fight here, and they only have 2 ultimates at their disposal. On the flip side, however, Attuned only have Bob, and Bob is not going to be able to do much depending on where you put him, so this could go either way, Jason.
Oh, Misty Falcon goes with the Earth Shatter straight into Bubble Shield. Bubbles gets a nice charge down. She's having a fantastic game on that main tank, and there's a self-destruct in. Is it going to have the same value as last time? It does manage to get Kit Kat off. Sneaky Rev trying to get in there with the Valkyrie. Unfortunately, does not work out too well. Trizzle gets their mech back, but unable to stay on the point and just keep the overtime running. And that's going to be the first map going over to Attuned.
A little bit of a messy first map there. It seems to me like these teams are... They're not quite sure what they're meant to be doing. I mean, obviously they all know get to point, hold M1 and you know, potentially kill things. But there's been a lot of ultimates that have been used badly, at bad times, and in just bad situations. So they really need to be looking at that, and I think that's what's lost a lot of fights in these games. Not necessarily, you know, the fight that you used the ultimate in, but the following fight, because you don't have that ult anymore. So now we're going to be moving over to the next map in Nepal, and interesting compositions we're going to be seeing here. It's the 2-2-2 with a McCree and a Pharah from Team Mist, and that's quite strange. Normally you would have a sniper instead of the McCree for some extra spam damage.
They were definitely expecting the Pharah to be in the sky. Unfortunately, that's not there, so McCree's going to have to find another means of getting kills. Or at this rate, Misty Falcon doing some good work for his team. Might just make sure that McCree doesn't have to work too hard. And there we go, as Team Mist finally make it their way onto the point. Attuned going to respond. Bubbles, first responder, as Attuned looking to stop the cap and take it back. And there we go, that's exactly what they need. Salty doing fantastically with that rifle. And now it's just Misty Falcon being chased down by the scariness that is a Mei. Although, in the back there is still the Pharah Mei of Metal Snow. They aren't able to do much, but they do manage to get rid of Ren. And their flip is still on if they can regroup in time and get back to support this Pharah, who just doesn't seem to want to give up. And that's what happens. You get punished. Metal Snow's out. And that's going to force a hard fight for Team Mist as they go in to try capture this point once again. Rael leading the charge, goes onto the point, and actually coming down on top, getting rid of Bubbles is huge. Gives Logod enough space to get rid of that revive. Jagged Jack goes down, and now Team Mist are in a really great position to take the capture and get the flip. Something that they should not have happened has happened. The unthinkable, Naori.
I mean, I'm just fascinated that they managed to fit 2 team fights into the space of, like, I don't know what to analyze. Which fight? Where do I... so much happened. I don't even know where to start. But a lot of mistakes were made there. And
well, what you start with is you tell us about all these cool ultimates that are happening.
Yeah, I was getting there. God, don't tell me what to do.
Well, if you did your job properly.
If you didn't interrupt me. Anyway,
Wow.
lot of ultimates, as Jason so mentioned, and caused me to miss like all of my analysis time as we're going to be moving into another fight. But yes, we do have like 10 ultimates across the board.
Earth Shatter down onto the point from Bubbles. She gets a huge one, gets the charge down onto the Lucio. Cool Dressing goes down. Maywall is out. It's going to separate Misty Falcon away there, and there we go. Metal Snow going down is huge. The Revive does come out for Cool Dressing. That puts both supports back on the payload. Shielded away from the self-destruct. But Team Mist still looking strong as Attune looks to take it. Blizzard goes out. Misty Falcon gets frozen. Focused down by that Bob. And that's going to be the flip for Attuned as they come out firing.
Well, Team Mist are actually looking on top here because, yes, they did get completely swept off of the point by about 4 or 5 ultimates from Attuned, but they held on to every single one of their ultimates. They've now swapped onto a Reaper from the McCree. They have 5 ultimates in the bag, and it's going to take a lot for them to actually lose this fight. However, it can happen. If they're not really careful, if you're going into this next fight too confident, you can screw it all up. You can lose this fight. But on paper, they should lose.
Yeah, immediately engaging with that sound barrier from Cool Dressing. It's going to give them a little bit of extra armor as they get rid of Salty and Kit Kat with ease, not using too many outs. This puts them in a great position. Team Mist now going to be able to take this point, surrounding Bubbles and Obvious. War goes out as Jack makes his way back into the point. Not going to have too much effect though, although Ren going to get the revive out. Sneaky revive on Jack. Allows him to get that cryoptic freeze off. And now it's just a stalling game for Attuned as they're just trying to hold on to this point as long as possible, get as much percentage charged, and that's going to be it. The flip is going to happen, but they did get a good 83% on the board.
Team Mist doing really well in the ult economy here. In that whole fight, they only used 2 ultimates. And when you look back on the previous fight, we saw that Attuned used literally every ultimate. So they're doing really well here, Team Mist. They've still got 3 ultimates online. They're about to have that Death Blossom as well. They're looking really strong and in charge. However, Attuned are coming in with almost 3 ultimates. It'll be 4 pretty damn soon, and that May Blizzard is what cleaned up that fight earlier, and it can do the same again.
Doesn't look like they need to do much as Team Mist just have to let them get almost halfway to the flip. And there's a double Earth Shadow. Misty Falcon's one coming off better. Jack goes down. Trizzle sitting on this Death Blossom. Might be looking for a perfect time to use it. Oh, it's not going to be necessary as, once again, like I said, ult usage by Team Mist used to perfection. And that's just going to throw away that Death Blossom as they know they have won this one.
Yeah, it's almost like night and day from the first map to the second map here from Team Mist. They kind of came out of the first map. Maybe they were testing the waters, just, you know, putting a toe in, seeing what their opponent is like and, you know, feeling it out and getting an idea for what's going on. And now this is where possibly they start to show and assert some dominance. And that's exactly what we saw on that last map. And now we are going to come into this last map of Sanctum. And this is always a fun map to look at compositions, but it looks like these guys are going to be staying with something quite staple to what they have been running all along. We're going to be seeing Team Mist running a very similar composition to their previous one, except they have swapped out the Zarya for the Roadhog, and it looks like Attuned are going to be running... Okay, so it's 2 dive tanks with a sniper, a soldier, a mercy, and a Lucio. And those are very strange compositions, and I'll get into that. It's just very weird to have a Lucio when you're not really running a melee range, close range composition.
All about them boobs. So a little bit of a trade there, but Trizzle gets revived. That's put Team Mist in a good advantage for the next team fight. Lots of sonar, sonic arrows being thrown out here by Jack. Gets immediately focused down. Salty once again refrags on Trizzle, but the point is going to go to Team Mist.
Yeah, it was a pretty easy fight there for Team Mist to win. They're doing really well with their cooldown usage and target prioritization. That's been a pretty good one from these guys, particularly on the last map we saw and this one now. But Attuned, they're coming in here with the Dragon Strike that's going to get a pick. Let's go.
Yeah, getting Real. This is now time for Attuned to just push through that pick as they go on. Logo does manage to get Real back on, but they are still looking at a man deficit as they've lost Misty Falcon. That could be huge, but Bubbles a bit too aggressive and Salty gets moved off the edge. Not a good situation for Attuned as they had a great opening and threw it all away to one man and a concussion blast. Obvious throwing away that self-destruct, trying to get as much as possible. Is going to get some value out of it as he gets rid of Trizzle, but it's just Ren and Obvious on the point. He gets DMA'd fairly quickly. Ren not going to survive too long, and that's going to be that fight over. Attuned need to regroup and rethink how to approach this point.
And again, Attuned are just throwing ultimates left and right. And I mean, I could even see when they used the Dragon Strike, they were looking specifically to try and get a pick. And Dragon Strike is used predominantly to actually split up the enemy team so that you can focus down targets quickly. So you can already see, like, the way that they use their ultimates is completely wrong, and they do spend every single one of their ultimates. Team Mist here having a massive advantage.
Yeah, it was a beautiful whole hog straight into the Earth Shadow. Unfortunately, not getting much value from that, but in that tight space, the Dragon Strike could be used to value, but Jack goes down instead. Bubbles gets pulled in a corner. Now it's just obvious throwing his life away for the reset, but feeding a little bit too much outcharge. Largard and Cool Dressing just going to be able to sustain through the next fight, and this is all but in the bag for Team Mist.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much last fight territory, and we're seeing some very late swap-offs here. They're going to be going for a high spam composition with a Zarya instead. They're not going to be able to build up grab in 7 seconds, so this is probably in the bag for Team Mist.
Especially with Salty going down, probably one of the few heroes who's going to be able to touch that point. Dovius tries, but gets kept back by a very angry... What is he? Pig? Warthog? Man? Man-bear pig?
Oh my lord, I hadn't thought of that because there isn't too much bear in him. I don't know what he is. He's some really weird hybrid of, like, well, as we know, man and pig, but like, how do you get that right? Has science gone too far, Jason?
Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Nice. I
Next
like
time
it.
on a very special episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Did you ever notice how every episode seemed to be a very special episode?
Yes,
Anyway. So
because every episode lasted 10 episodes.
Jeez, don't even remind me. That takes me back to some serious time wasted in my childhood.
True story.
And
my adulthood.
Team Mist. Oh my goodness. Okay, no, I've never allowed it to seep into my adulthood.
You see, I
That's
tried
weird.
in my adulthood, and I didn't realize I didn't have the time anymore.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a mood and a half.
It's like we got both coaches here, Minor, and Not Groot, coming to coach their teams. Not Groot, obviously, helping Attuned, and Minor with Team Mist.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's nice to see the coaches in here. I don't know if they're allowed, like, in the comms to be able to, like, tell their team to do stuff. But it's really cool to see them, participating and possibly giving some feedback between rounds or whatever. VOD recording, just really being involved in helping these players, because as I mentioned, this is the sub 3K tournament, so these are all players that are constantly looking for ways to improve, and it's really nice to have their coaches here giving them that opportunity. We are just waiting to see what the next map is going to be, and Team Mist, they really did come back there from that first map on Nepal. It came from quite a messy slugfest to something that was, as we moved on to the second map, Team Mist started to kind of show a little bit of dominance there, and then when we got onto third map, it was an absolute destruction of Attuned. Team Mist did not allow them to set so much as a toe on their point. So I'm interested to see how these next maps are going to go if Team Mist can keep up that aggression.
Maybe Team Mist is just like an old steam train. Just gotta warm up the steam, get the steam going, get the motors moving, turning, and then that kind of thing. No? All right, just me? Cool.
Probably just you, to be fair. We are just waiting for the teams to pick a map here. Oh, they're busy getting in a sub. So we're just going to wait to see who gets subbed in. But it looks like we are going to be moving on to Hollywood. And this is one of those hybrid maps. And it's a very dominant DPS map. Snipers on second point, quad DPS or triple DPS on first point, rolling out into that GOATS composition on third point. That's kind of the progression of Hollywood. So I'm curious to see exactly what compositions we're going to see. But that's like the norm.
Yes, in general, through everything, for life.
Yes.
just goats, just goats.
Just when in doubt, just go goats.
It's silly.
Wow, Minor is like super happy that you can say his name.
Not a hard name to say.
It's really not. But
On a different note, given that
Right.
they're not playing standard comps, I mean, if we looked at Sanctum especially, you got a Hug and you had a Reinhardt. Do you expect to see goats? Do you honestly believe that these teams will be playing goats?
I mean, we saw goats for about 5 seconds on Village. Literally 5 seconds. They rolled out, saw the enemy composition, went back and swapped it up a little bit to that Pharah and so on. But I believe it's possible. The thing about goats is that so many people believe that it's kind of a face roll forehead composition. You just hold W and M1 and then win. And what a lot of people don't realize is that it is in fact one of the most complex metas that we've ever had in Overwatch in terms of ability cooldown or ability usage, ult usage, coordination between players. It's actually mind-boggling. In fact, every time I watch a goats fight, I learn something new. It's insane. So it's not the kind of composition that you can just get into a game, pick those heroes and win. So I think that a lot of these teams, especially because they're in this lower SR bracket and don't really have access to high tier gaming, they will be sticking with things that they know and things that they understand. Learning a whole new hero in order to learn a whole new composition isn't easy for people that are in a lower skill bracket. And that's not meant to throw shade at anybody. It's the truth. It's as simple as that. I mean, even for high tier players, there are some high tier players that just cannot play other heroes. So I think that the reason we might not see goats is purely because of comfort, less than just anything else, really.
Yeah, team synergy overall, just how cohesive the team is will factor into how effective your ghost is at the end of the day. I mean, you touched on it, but that's really what it comes down to. If your team isn't together, your goats won't be together.
Exactly. And it looks like on this defense here, we're going to be seeing a Torbjorn Widowmaker defense. And it's an interesting one. We've been seeing this a little bit in Open Division recently, and it has actually worked out fairly well. But of course, these bunker compositions are very hard to get just right, and if you make even the slightest mistake, then of course your entire composition will fall apart, and you can potentially lose this first point. Coming through on attack, we're going to be seeing much the same as what we have been seeing from Team Mist this whole time. It's that Reinhardt, Zarya, and of course the double whammy spam damage of the Pharah and the Ashe. And again, it's very strange that they're running a Lucio, because Lucio is for close range combat, and they have a sniper and a Pharah. So they could definitely be using something else, but who knows, maybe they make it work. They have been thus far.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're using that speed boost of Lucio to get the tanks up close while the snipers just harass and make sure the tanks can't get too affected. But I mean, they also are going to be running straight into an Orisa Torbjorn bunker comp.
Yep.
And not paying too much attention to that Torbjorn as he gets taken out by a dynamite from Drizzle. That's just going to open up the site. Bubbles and Geltec need to just jump down and engage. And there we go. Bubbles pops the 45. Does get onto this point, but she is surrounded. It's just Dobios and her right now on this point, trying to defend it. Kit Kat makes her way back with the Zenyatta, but they are far heavily outnumbered. Bubbles going down last, and that's going to be the 3 ticks for Team Mist.
And that's the thing, when you're running a bunker composition, when your main DPS source is your Torbjorn, he can't die first. Keep your healers on him, keep your shield up, make sure he doesn't die. If he survives, then you have a far greater chance of winning that fight. And notice how they took down the Orisa last. That was actually exactly what they needed to do. Her Fortifier lowers the amount of damage she takes. There's so many reasons to not take her down first. And if you're focusing her down, you're allowing DPS to just continuously plow damage into you. So very well done there from Team Mist for doing that, getting the Torbjorn out of the fight early, and really, really rocking the ult economy here with 3 ultimates, about to have 4 online. I mean, there's massive favor here for them.
I mean, right now, Attuned is in a bit of a panic. They're just kind of throwing out everything they have, invincibility, turrets in the middle of the street, just to try and get some semblance of control over the payload, but it's not really working out. Lol God shouldn't have got that revive off, gets Misty Falcon back in the fight, and Belwas gets traded out in return. So, once again, on the back foot, Attuned need to make a stand, and they need to make a stand now.
And that's the thing, when they make this stand, they need to make sure that they don't do it messily, because as you say, they are panicking. They're not sure what to do. Everybody's kind of hitting Q and not really thinking about what it is that they're doing. So they do have the Earth Shatter. They've also got Batiste's damage matrix, and they've got the Molten Core, as well as a Transcendence. Now, Team Mist have got every single ultimate online. The Transcendence can negate quite a lot of that, but there's really going to need to be some coordination here if they're going to get anything done.
Ooh, that's the kind of coordination you want to see. Molten Core into an Earth Shatter, gets rid of the main tanks. Jack pops off, throwing away all the outs though, and leaving 6 on Team Mist. This is going to be a rough retake for Attuned.
I mean, yeah, Team Mist died with all of their ultimates, which was exactly what they needed to do. You'll very often hear people saying, oh, you died with ult. No, sometimes that's what you need to do. Snipe Yato taking down Metal Snow, though. It's going to force Team Mist to think about their next engage. And while they're thinking about that, I just want to remind everybody to be looking out for these ultimates. I'm expecting an Earth Shatter and either an Earth Shatter or a Graviton Surge. And then, of course, we will be seeing that barrage potentially. The Transcendence should be drawn out fairly quickly. But I don't think it's going to be enough to save Attuned, as it looks like the Bob's going to be the first ult to come out.
Yeah, Bob goes out just to distract, followed by the Graviton Surge. Transcendence is there just to keep them healed through that so they can stay alive. Although Metal Snow manages to pick off Jack, and the rest fall behind. Only Mr. Falcon going on. Logod does have the revive if needed, and they just got to deal with Dovius. He's trying to just get onto his payload and stall out as much as possible. Dovius going down is just going to get them that second point, and only 1 left to go. Still 3 ults in control. Trizzle going to come up with that Bob fairly shortly. Attuned not looking good for this final defense.
Using their ultimates so well. I mean, I think that this is the main thing that I can say about Team Mist, is that their ult economy is so much better than what we're seeing from Attuned. Attuned have made a couple of swap-offs here. We've now got the Hanzo and the McCree to try to deal with Metal Snow, because Metal Snow is an absolute issue for them. And they also know, or they should know, that Metal Snow has Barrage. But unfortunately, we are going to see Jack go down, and that's going to take out a lot of the potential to deal with that Barrage. Farah on the flank here. I think she might be going for that ultimate, Jay.
I don't know. She does see Salty. And Farah going to try to get rid of that hit scan before going for this barrage. Could put the Farah in a dangerous position if Metal Snow goes through it with that McCree waiting on it. They are grouped up, and there we go. The damage barrier is out from the Baptiste. That's just going to force the whole of Team Mist to back off. But a huge Deadeye from Salty comes out on top. And that's not what you want to see if you're Team Mist right now.
I mean, the Baptiste damage field, it doubles your damage output. So a McCree High Noon threw that itty-bitty little matrix, and he took down 2 tanks and the Farah. Absolutely ridiculous. But the regroup was so quick from Team Mist that we are now already in the next fight, and Team Mist still heavily in favor here in ultimates.
Oh, Bob getting rid of Salty. That's huge. Dragon Strike does come through and only gets rid of Bob instead. So Trizzle not having too much of a good time with that one. KitKat finds Royale, but that's just not going to stop Team Mist at this moment. They have the momentum going forwards. KitKat with the Transcendence is just going to give them a moment of pause, but not too much, as that's a very cheeky revive from Logor. Gets Metal Snow back in the fight. He doesn't have that barrage, but it's not going to matter, as Team Mist are backing off and regrouping anyway. They still got 2 minutes to get back to the payload and capture it out, and I don't think they're too worried just yet.
The Team Mist really need to figure out how to back off, and they did do it. I mean, Rael should have been punished there heavily as the Zarya, but they allowed him to live, and now he is very high charge. He's got the Graviton Surge. It's the only ultimate they have. They're about to have the beat, but the Zenyatta's down. That is huge, because that means that there is no chance of the grab.
Yeah, the grab went immediately out the moment the grab went out, but the self-destruct comes out into defense with the Dragon Strike. Make sure that grab could not be capitalized on. And even the invincibility shield. Although they are still 2 on point, it is cool dressing, and Rael just pushing it forwards. Velvet Salty and Galtek come back in defense. The high damage field is out, but not being utilized to its full potential. KitKat getting rid of Rael is going to get them the defense this time round, but it was a little bit of a frantic one, despite the excellent use of self-destruct.
Really well played there, but once again, using every single ultimate at their disposal. However, they're about to have an Earth Shatter and the High Noon. They don't have the Baptiste ultimate to ramp up that High Noon damage, and we are going to be seeing a Bob coming out fairly soon.
But there is Bob right there, straight onto the payload, just going to harass down Attuned, although they ignore him somewhat. Trizzle just finds him, gets rid of that Bob Jaggerjack. Unfortunately, maybe focused on the wrong opponent there as his teammates fall. Misty Falcon goes down, and there's the Deadeye. Not going to find anyone this time, and the barrage comes to great effect, taking advantage of the McCree stalled out in that. Deadeye is going to probably cost them this final point. It's just W's and Galtech right now. Invincible Shield is out with the high damage. And there's no Shadow from Battle, and that's huge. They got to capitalize on it. They find Misty Falcon, and Transcendence might be a bit too early as nothing was really there to challenge it at that moment. Although Attuned are coming out on top despite the mistiming of those ultimates. It's a huge scrap on the payload right now. But Attuned seem to frantically, and despite the panic, just pull it back. It's only Cool Dressing left, and he goes down. 5 seconds to go. Misty Falcon going to be a struggle to get back onto the point. Does manage to get a pin off on Jaggerjack, but gets taken out, and Jaggerjack survives unscathed. And so, a last-minute hold from Attuned means that they have a better chance of taking the final, the next round, round 2.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Good hold here from Attuned. I actually wasn't expecting them to do this well, for them to have held on. Not only did Team Mist not get 3rd point, but yeah, like it went into overtime, and I was like, okay, then they'll just get it in overtime, because I thought that they would have quite a lot of time left over, and in fact, they just never capped that 3rd point. So very good coordination towards the end there, and of course that spawn advantage helped a lot, and it seemed to me like Team Mist were scrambling towards the end there. What I have noticed about them is that they're not too good with how they regroup and get back together for the next fight. They kind of tend to not so much trickle, but like they'll go in 5v6 and it's like, it's fine, the last guy's coming, he's behind us, we'll be good. So they need to learn to do that, because when you do that, it becomes a trickle, and that's exactly what happened in that last fight there, and it's why Attuned was so capable, or could so easily keep them off of the point. Now we're going to be swapping sides, and once again we're going to be seeing some kind of a defense bunker here, not using the Orisa, which I don't know if I agree with. Okay, no, it's not going to be a bunker, it's just going to be a debate. We're going to be seeing oh no, I was looking at the wrong team. Okay, yeah.
Are you right there? Are you okay? You doing good?
Yeah.
Everything cool?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, so
We win.
we established as a Roadhog and an Orisa. It's a Household combo.
Yes.
Baptiste. Okay, I'm just checking.
Yes, and it is a bunker. It is indeed still a bunker, and they have the Diva to contest the point if necessary. And it looks like we will be seeing, Moira Goats on the attack here, and can do fairly well against bunker, but they're going to have to figure out their rotation perfectly, otherwise they will get taken out very easily.
Yeah, you're right. So we did in fact see a Goats on this point, but with the Team Mist jumping down to contest could spell the end of that Goats combo if it's not, as you said, rotated properly. Although they seem to be doing quite well, handling it a little bit better. Although losing Bubbles and Galtech might not be what you want in the early stages of that fight. The Diva gets DMAC. They do have the picks on their side, however, but leaving Misty Falcon still on this point might be the death of them, as Jaggerjack just trying to get rid of Misty Falcon. Going down, the Orisa is out, and now it's just Trizzle alone, and I can't see much contestation from the remaining members of Team Mist as Attuned get control, but leave someone on the point to capture those, you animals.
So the problem with how this bunker was run was the moment Attuned touched the point, literally everyone jumped down. And that's not how bunker works. Bunker is you hunker down. You hold that space in cafe. That's what you're supposed to do. And instead, they all just jump down onto point. And once you get down onto point, and you're in that melee battle, Goats wins. And W is getting off a sneaky self-destruct while no one was watching.
I was watching.
Okay, well, I was watching.
You were talking.
Yeah,
I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, that's so nice of you for once.
Yeah, I should have interrupted you.
I mean, you could have been talking about the fight after the self-destruct. Things happened. You just...
I mean, all that happened was Attuned snowboard through Team Mist.
That's true. Attuned doing exactly what Team Mist did on the ball. Suddenly they came back and now they're looking really strong. I don't know what's going on. These teams, they're finding ways to surprise me. So we've got 2 ultimates here, both of them crowd control ultimates, the Earth Shatter and the Graviton Surge. No good defensive ultimates from Team Mist, but they do have the whole
It's okay, don't worry about it. Bubbles is getting that Earth Shatter down on Mr. Falcon, gets rid of the main tank for Team Mist. And Attuned just going to keep pushing this payload forward as they get closer and closer to that rectangle. Plenty of time on the clock for them as Riel finds himself the last bastion of hope for a very in the ditches.
Oh, good
Team Mist.
grab.
I don't know what I was saying. That was a great grab.
I thought I'd help you along by interrupting you. before
Thank you.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do that sometimes, and then you did it for me. You interrupted me, except the way you did it was like, "Are you good?" Which, it's fine.
I mean, you're falling off. What is Rael doing? Rael a bit out of position here, going to get completely spammed down by the entire composition of Attuned as they're just going to keep moving forwards. He was way out of position.
No, he got bad spawn. He couldn't get back to his team. He died before they cap point, which means that he spawned in the bad place and he couldn't get back to his team. The only thing he could do was die.
Every place is a bad place.
I don't think that's how that works, but sure. And once again, now it seems that the ult economy is...
Ooh, the self-destruct goes into the back line and gets two. The shield not able to get behind just in time. That was a beautifully timed self-destruct from Dovius. He's having too much fun with the Diva. That leaves Tribbles out of position, but he gets a self-destruct himself in there. Bubbles going to get the shield up though. No value from that as Attuned looking strong to get onto this final point. Bubbles pushing forward with their teammates. Going to just try to push on. Rael now coming to the rescue of Team Mist. Once again, always there in the back line as Misty Falcon gets a nice Earth Shadow off. No capitalization, however, from that. Cool dressing brings out the sound barrier. Really wants to keep his team alive here, but Jaggerjack's looking strong and looking scary on that Brigida as Attuned are just hammering away at the health pools of Team Mist. Misty Falcon goes for the Earth Shadow. Only manages to get Jaggerjack and goes down as a result. There's a Graviton Surge out from Salty. Does manage to get Trizzle and Misty Falcon. Trizzle responds with the self-destruct. Bubbles perfectly in there with the shield. Gonna stop that off immediately, and then Misty Falcon going down is going to mean that Attuned have a free pass onto this point. Salty just running up onto Earth-Shattered members of Team Mist. And it's just a frantic scrap at the moment. The spawn advantage working out in favor of Team Mist right now, but it's not going to hold for long if they can't get control of this fight. As Male Snow bringing out the Farah, trying to make some work happen, and there we go. Trizzle finally pops off, and Team Mist get control of the payload.
That took forever. I think we had 2 rotations of ultimates per team. Ridiculous team fight there. And of course, every single ultimate was used. Attuned did fairly well to handle their ultimates and use them well, but unfortunately, it did become very sloppy towards the end. They do have the rally now, and they are going to engage with it. And hopefully for them, they will be able to take this 3rd point and even out the series.
Well, they're coming back with a vengeance. Misty Falcon got the shield out. Graviton Surge out from Salty. Does manage to cap 6 of the whole team. Jarvis with self-destruct in the Graviton Surge. Could get value, but Misty Falcon was there with the shield for a change as he charges down to Galtech. Doesn't get anyone, but also was there with the barrage. Comes out with the Earth Shatter, finds Galtech instead. He's hungry for that Moira as Team Mist rally around their main tank, the big man with the hammer, and they keep pushing on forward. Attuned have not been able to find a way onto this payload since crossing into this final area.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there. We are seeing Team Mist kind of get themselves towards themselves, and they're managing to hold on to this point a little bit better. I think they got a little bit spooked losing that first point so quickly. They weren't too sure what to do, but now they are looking a lot stronger. They do have 2 ultimates online, very good zoning ultimates, exactly what you need to deal with payload.
Yeah, but throwing away the zoning ultimate from the start, that self-strike not finding any effect, not even causing Attuned to run away in panic, means that they only have that whole hog left. And we've seen Rael use it to quite a good effect in Sanctum. He could do the same here. He's got the doorway locked down if needed. Does jump in, and there's the whole hog out. Male Snow with the barrage on the side while they're distracted. Gets 2. Attuned being pushed all the way back. Beautiful use of ultimates from Team Mist as Logod, cool dressing, coming out with those sport ultimates, and the Earth Shatter is on. Only 3 on the side of Attuned, and they need to be able to use those to great effect. Only 2 of them are zoning, 2 of them are area effect. So let's hope that Bubbles can get that off and the Graviton Surge works in their favor. Also, Attuned going to be looking at the wrong side of a loss.
Yep, pretty much. As you said, they've got that Graviton Surge and the Coalescence. They can put a ton of damage into the grab if they can get a good grab. But of course, there are 3 ultimates here for the defense, and they are going to pop the Coalescence early, so they're not going to get too much value out of it.
A little bit too heavy on the trigger is Galtech. The Coalescence now out of the fight. Metal Snow going to come up on that. Barrage fairly soon is ready to go. Valkyrie is out. Earth Shatter goes down from Bubbles. Doesn't manage to get Valley out of it, but the Sound Barrier comes in as a saving grace. Now it's Mr. Falcon's turn to respond with his own Earth Shatter, and that's going to be used to huge effect. Obvious with the self-truck in the back line. Doesn't find anyone, and there's the Barrage. Metal Snow was waiting for that the whole time. Doesn't find Galtech, but does cause Attuned to just take a step back and think about it. Trizzle with the self-destruct on the payload does manage to get rid of Obvious, and now they're being pushed all the way back. They have 6 seconds and they got to touch the point. There we go, sneaky little kick-hack on the Lucio. Does find her way, or his way, their way, to the payload, but gets taken out. Jagged Jack with the Wrecking Ball, just going to try and get some mobility, try and get as much time on that payload as possible, as Galtech and Jagged Jack try to keep it alive. Obvious makes his way there just to give some support. But nothing is happening for Attuned right now. It's just Galtech left. Galtech going down, not good. KitKat manages to use that speed to get back and gets Bubbles in as well. But Bubbles gets immediately hooked out by Rael on that Roadhog. And that's going to be it as Team Mist pull it out of the hat and get a 3-minute hold on Hollywood.
Good Lord, they held that for so long, and it really did look like they were going to get absolutely rolled on that map. And they finally got to last point, and very similarly to what happened with Attuned, when you're on that defense, you've got that spawn advantage, you can hold a little bit stronger. They were just unable to push through and finally get that last cap. So the score will go 2 up in favor of Team Mist, and we are going to move on to our very last map of the evening.
What?
Potentially.
No. Yes.
No?
Potentially the last map.
Yes, potentially
Don't
the last
don't
map.
count the chickens before they get stomped.
Before they get stomped. What are you doing stomping chickens?
Isn't that you stomp the chicken and you eat it?
What?
No.
The hell
just
have
me?
you been doing to chickens?
Obviously not the right thing.
Good Lord, you animal. All right, well, I'm just gonna...
Let's talk about Attuned right now and their trigger happiness with their ultimates, just throwing them away a bit too much. I think if they get better ultimate management, they're going to be coming out on top a lot more in these fights against Team Mist. And Team Mist just, despite... I mean, they're not perfect with their ultimate usage, but they're a lot tighter than Attuned, and that's what's actually giving them the advantage.
Probably. I think the biggest issue that they're having for Attuned themselves is just what's that word? Communication. Hey, and having a battle plan. And I feel like that's something that Team Mist has, because whenever they enter a fight, they use 1 or 2 ultimates, like 3 max. And you know, sometimes like one of them will be a support ultimate, so it's like, you know, we use the support ultimate to survive while we use these other 2 ultimates. That's not too bad. But for Attuned, it's kind of like they all just kind of run in and hit Q and hope for the best. And every now and then I'll see a play from Attuned and I'll go, okay, that was really good. That was planned quite well, but it's so few and far between. Team Mist have clearly got an idea in their minds. Every time they lose a fight, they pull back, they talk about it, they think, okay, these are the ultimates we have, this is what we're going to do. And sometimes that can fail. You can come out with the best intentions, okay, we're going to grav bomb, and then your grav gets eaten. Which was not the case here, but I'm just illustrating a point. So your plan can go awry. And luckily for Team Mist, all of their plans just kind of came to fruition very well, and they're managing to hold on to this 2-0. We're going to be moving on to Temple of Anubis now, and this is obviously, it's somewhat similar to your King of the Hill type maps, in that you have to gain control of a point. In this case, it's going to be 2 points, and we saw that Attuned did fairly well on Nepal, but as the map continued, they kind of started to decline in their performance. So it's going to really come down to how much have Team Mist gotten into their heads. Can they figure out a composition that's going to work? I'm expecting to see some potentially some bunker compositions here, or potentially some heavy DPS compositions. Hopefully not too much goats, because it's not the strongest composition that you can be running on Anubis. But again, it's going to come down to the head game. Clearly Attuned at this point realized this is kind of their last chance to turn it around.
Initiating match.
Yes,
Yes,
I agree.
good. You should.
Or what?
Or you're wrong. What?
No.
What do you mean, no? You said you agreed.
But, I mean, just because I don't agree doesn't mean I'm wrong.
But if you agree, then that means you think you're right, therefore you're right.
But I mean... No, your logic is flawed.
Okay, chat.
Your
We broke
logic...
him, chat.
No, your logic is terrible. Let's just take a look at the defense that Attuned is going to be bringing out here. They've got the spam damage there. A little bit of spam with that. Junkrat, Diva, and the Anna. I think we've seen a lot of Anna plays this game. Not so much from Attuned, but we've definitely seen a lot of it.
Yeah, Anna is still pretty good with her biotic grenade. What is interesting me here is that they're running the Mercy and the Zenyatta, but they're running a bunker composition. So I would really have expected to see a Batiste here on defense. But nonetheless, looking over onto the attack, it's going to be yet again the Widow and the Pharah. When I say yet again the Widow, yet again the Sniper and the Pharah, along with the Winston. And I really like the Winston on this first point. There's a lot of high ground that he can take advantage of, and his ult charges so much faster now because of the changes to armor. So he's in a very good spot at the moment. Nice boop from the Pharah, even though he goes down.
Yeah, very good boop, just making space for Rael on the Winston to dive on. Although it gets taken out by Salty with that dynamite, they have got the pick advantage right now. But no, I take that back because Salty gets rid of Metal Snow. And this is going to be a regroup for Team Mist.
Attuned doing really well, yet Salty, in fact, doing very well here, getting a lot of key pickoffs that started with that Pharah. And yes, the Pharah did get the boop onto everyone that was on the high ground, but it wasn't enough. Obvious, what were you doing there, my friend? He is going to get taken down now, and this is the exact opportunity that Team Mist need. This is when they need to go. This is when they need to hit W.
Yeah, a little bit out of position for Dovius, causes him to go down, although Salty once again with the dynamite replicates exactly last time, but with an extra 2. You got to stay away from explosives. Explosives are bad.
I mean, yeah, like when you see a piece of dynamite on the floor, go the other direction.
Maybe they think it's sweets. Maybe they're like, ooh, sweetie.
Ooh, shiny. We got a bunch of kids here that really like shiny things.
I mean, Metal Snow likes shiny things because he's just waiting for that sneaky back cap or sneaky back Deadeye. I'm not too sure what he's doing there, and he does get rid of Galtech. So that could be a good opening from there. Haven't realized that he's there. Salty finally does take notice of that, but Jaggerjack goes in with the Riptire, but Salty going down. That's an opening that they need. No more dynamite for Team Mist as Dovius moves to challenge Metal Snow, who's in a dangerous position, leaving his team open, leaving that backline exposed. The Diva has let the team down.
Okay, Metal Snow should under no circumstances whatsoever have been allowed so much free reign in the backline. For him to have been able to take down 2 people is ridiculous. Somebody should have turned around and dealt with him far sooner in the fight. In fact, they should have seen him flanking. I mean, there isn't really a sneaky way for a McCree to get behind there. You should have seen it happening. You should have known he was there. So huge misplay here from Attuned. But they've got 6 minutes to try and hold on to the second point. They do have 3 ultimates online. They've got the Bob, they've got the Bongos, and of course they've got the Transcendence for anything that can go awry here. And a nice early pick-off onto Moira should help them maintain their hold.
Yeah, that was a beautiful pickup, getting rid of the high healing of the Moira. This is going to make sure that Team Mist are going to have to just push it backwards here. Dovius, once again, being a bit hyper-aggressive, pushing on onto them. Salty getting rid of cool dressing is definitely going to force Team Mist all the way back to their spawn area. And I say that, but they're happily just trying to poke down through this doorway for the time being.
It's actually good that they retreat so far back, because of course, if Attuned get damage into them, if they can plow some extra damage into them, then that's just extra ult charge. And really, you don't want to be giving them any more ult charge than they already have. They're about to have all 6 ultimates, and Team Mist not looking too hot. They've got 3 ultimates, about to have 4, with a 5th on the way. But now it just comes down to that communication. Are they going to use their ultimates effectively or die to Bob?
I mean, they did throw only 2 ultimates out there, and Bob being used to great effect by Salty with the Anna. So, Attuned finally getting control of that itchy trigger finger for once might actually win in this game.
very good managing to hold on there. And of course, again, Team Mist went in for a completely dry fight to help build up ultimates. Now they'll have 6 ultimates very quickly, especially with the amount of damage that Reaper's shotgun does. And of course, if Rael can build up some charge, then he's going to be a Christmas tree Zarya. So it's looking good for Team Mist chat to potentially take this in the next fight. That you need to be wary of that Transcendence though, as well as all the other ults.
Oh, the Riptide goes out. Maybe just pulled the trigger a bit too early. Had a whole team that he could have run onto. Although Deadeye does go for the response and gets 2 with Misty Falcon getting rid of Bubbles. Just Dovius and KitKat left on this point to contest. Dovius does have the self-destruct, of course, and he has used it and can use it in a clutch moment. There we go. Self-destruct thrown down. It's going to be shielded away by Misty Falcon, however, but then going to allow for Team Mist to get 2 points, possibly get that 3rd point, as Attuned not able to make it back in time to contest that. Though Shadow was there to get rid of Bubbles, even if she had touched it.
I'm finding it very interesting that we're seeing Dovius on this diva because as far as I know, and to the best of my memory, last year he spent a good chunk of his time in the local scene playing Pharah, and I can actually see that diva isn't, you know, his most comfortable hero. Defense matrix usage is not great. He's not checking his backline. I mean, these are really, really important things that diva needs to be doing. Matrixing, high noon, making sure that you deal with flankers. This is diva's job. And I think that that's definitely one of the things that's holding them back in these team fights. And now we're going to be swapping sides here. And let's see. So defensively here, we're looking at goats. No, so not goats. Bunker. And it looks like it's going to be a bunker with a McCree. And I don't know. These are strange compositions that we've been seeing from Team Mist on defense. They seem adamant on running the Halt Hook combo, but they don't have anything with like real damage output. I mean, I suppose they're probably going for the right click from McCree to deal with whatever gets pulled in. But usually when you run the Halt Hook, you want to be using something like a Bastion that can really plow some damage in. I'm happy to see that they are running the Batiste with their bunker, so they're going to have tons of healing. They're holding their bunker very far back though, which could work, but it could give up way too much space, and we could see a repeat of Hollywood if they're not too careful. We're going to be seeing the Sombra
Just scouting out.
Yeah. Big scout. Translocate?
Yeah, the amount of time that the Sombra just wasted getting that scout, they could have just waited for the seconds to count down so they could see the team comp instead. But I mean, if their bunker was a close bunker, the Sombra would have been used to a lot more effective Sombra. Unfortunately, they were quite far back. So, Attuned has switched out onto a Goats comp, though. The Zen Goats who are coming out here.
And that's going to work very well against this bunker, especially if they can get up close and personal. Once again, exactly like we saw on Hollywood. Now they're going to need to... Oh, nice boop!
Yes.
Made the immortality field completely useless. And now they're just like smushing with their Goats comp. They just need to get onto point and then they will win the fight.
I agree. The Fire Strike goes out, gets rid of Rail, but there's an Earth Shatter. Nice Earth Shatter from Bubbles, getting that charge up quite fast. And this defense has all but fallen apart for Team Mist, as a quick take is what's going to come up for Attuned right now. Galtech just skating around the point, getting out as much damage with that gun of the Lucio as possible. Tizzle, the only one left to defend it, does get demeched and going to get completely destroyed by the 3 members of Attuned sitting on that point, and that's going to be at least 2 ticks for them. I doubt that there's going to be a comeback here from Team Mist. It looked like Lolgold was thinking about it, but he's backed off.
Yeah, probably for the best. And remember what I was saying about that Hollywood attack? And we pretty much just saw like a highlight reel of exactly what happened on Hollywood. They used goats, they engaged on the bunker, and then they won the fight. It's really as simple as that. Against the bunker composition, when you're playing goats, all you have to do is hit W, and then next fight.
Yeah, now they got the snowball available to them as the grab goes up, but there's a self-destruct, and that's going to find 2. That should not have happened. The Transcendence a little bit too late from KitKat. The snowball has been smashed to oblivion and melted down by Team Mist. As the last 2 members of Attuned try get some semblance of control of this point. Just Salty left does have the particle barrier available to use. Never mind. He used it.
probably for the best that he didn't, because that just would have fed more ult charge to the enemy team. And again, they've got 3 ultimates online. They've got the High Noon, they've got the Bongo, and they've got the Batiste ultimate. If they combine the 3 of those, the High Noon will be the most epic of High Noons. Ultimates coming through from the other side. We do have the self-destruct and of course the sound barrier. Sound barrier might just be able to save them from some big incoming damage, but I don't think that this is the fight that they should be using any of their ultimates. In fact, if they do use any ultimates, then it's actually a waste.
Yes. I'm just going to agree with you now.
I mean, I've noticed that, and
Yeah.
it's weird.
It's a new tactic. I'm trying.
But say things. I can't talk all the time.
I thought that's what you wanted to do.
I mean, if that's what you want, I'll do it. I'll play by play. I'll do everything. You can just sit there and agree with me and boost my ego.
I mean, yeah, I could do that. How much will you pay me? What? Okay, Trizzle with a very interesting self-destruct does manage to get rid of Kit Kat. That's just going to stall out Attuned a bit longer. There is no mercy to come in with the revive. They're going to be a little bit salty about that as Team must get a nice aggressive push, pushing them back to spawn and making sure that they're just bleeding away the time that Attuned has to get those 3 ticks.
That was certainly a self-destruct. Not too sure if that's the best path or course to travel.
I never said it was the best course, but they did get value out of it.
I'm just saying, like in a general sense, that ain't it, Chief. But they are continuing to hold here. However, Attuned are going to be coming in with a ton of ultimates here. And once again, now that Diva's demech, they need to not use any of them. When they come in for their next fight, why did they beat?
Yeah, that was an interesting beat. I mean, there was no reason, no real threat to them at that moment. A little bit of panic from Geltic, possibly worried about the number of picks that were going off from Team Mist, but here they are going for the engage. They do have the amp hit up just to get onto that bunker. Salty and Geltic goes through with a beautiful grab, and there's the self-struck in the backline. Doesn't find anyone, unfortunately, only managing to do very much nothing. Geltic goes down to a beautiful hook by the Roadhog, and now Jagged Attack manages to find himself in the backline, trying to get rid of that Diva. It's just going to get pounced upon and get taken out almost immediately, and Attuned, a little bit of mismanagement with their ultimates. And I say that, but they used some of them beautifully. It just didn't work out in their favor.
No. Attuned, that was a terrible fight from Attuned, because the Zenyatta died and then they engaged 5v6. The slowest member of their team died and they engaged 5v6 and committed ultimates when their Zenyatta wasn't even halfway back to the team yet. That was a complete waste of about 2 or 3 ultimates that they really could have used for this next fight. And now they've only got the Earth Shatter and the Transcendence, and I don't think it's going to be enough to win this next fight. They do have 2.5 minutes. I want to see a dry fight from them, but I feel like we may just be seeing a couple of Qs being hit here.
Yeah, it looks like they're a little bit too scared to engage. I think they may have realized what situation they have found themselves in. Earth Shatter does go down from Bubbles. Does manage to get quite a few, but the Deadeye was there in retaliation, and the Immortality Field just to keep them alive. Jagged Attack getting rid of Cool Dressing is just a little bit of cake, icing on the cake that's they're never going to get.
Despite what I said, they do seem to be having a little bit of control on this point here, but it is just the 2 of them left. And a beat to try... Oh, man, you should have died.
Two-man sound barrier, the best sound barrier. Self-destruct out, gets rid of Bubbles, so that's not going to stop the response by Attuned in their tracks. Salty just getting hooked down and completely spammed down by Metalstar and Rael. This is a bad situation for Attuned. They really need to regroup there instead of trying to fight a 2-man on the point.
Learn to die and regroup, guys. It's one of the biggest skills that you can learn in Overwatch. And as weird as that sounds, well, what about aim? What about cooldown management? No. Learn to die and regroup. You cannot win a fight 2-man, especially when there are 4 of them on the point and they have spawn advantage. They've now wasted their beat. They could have used that for an engage. They do have the rally, so there is potential here. They've got the Graviton Surge, but there will be a Transcendence in response to that. And once again, there's also the whole hog as well as the Bongo for the defense. I mean, it's going to be insanely difficult for Attuned to get any value out of their ultimates.
Oh, there we go. Getting some value, at least getting with the Bongos. There's the whole hog just trying to stall them out on the door. Team Mist managing to do well here just to hold on to it, but the grab is out from Salty, and that's going to be huge for Attuned as they come up with a good number of picks from their Graviton Surge. It leaves Rael alone on the point. They're going to get at least one tick out of this before any real response is going to come out from Team Mist. And Metal Snow going down is not good if you are sitting in Team Mist's situation right now. Just getting onto the point right now, just stopping that 3 ticks from going off. But Attuned still looking comfy, still looking good on this point, getting all of the Saga picks. And Metal Falcon, Misty Falcon, not going to be able to last too long with that Orisa. Jagged Jack getting rid of the Immortality Field. It's a frantic scrap here for Team Mist, and the overtime counter is on. So, Team Mist just need to hold this out and make sure that there is nothing that Attuned can do to stop them, but the sound barrier is going to make sure that Attuned are going to be able to stand through this. Mr. Falcon once again gets on the point early and gets taken out almost immediately. Grab is out, only manages to find Rael, but he's happily sit in there with the whole hog running, and it's just going to push and knock about Attuned in their tracks. As Metal Snow bringing out the Tracer. Now it's all up to Team Mist just to try to stall for as long as possible, but a huge Earth Shatter could be big. The self-destruct is in the back line. Bubbles not able to shield off Jagged Jack. It's going to be an unfortunate position for them, but it does still leave 4 members of Attuned on this point. And they are frantically fighting this and actually winning it out in the end. And the stove with a pulse bomb gets rid of Cat, and then Obvious goes down, but there's retaliation from Metal Snow, and eventually Attuned do get 3 ticks, but at what cost?
Oh my goodness, if the Roadhog had just gotten back to point, they might actually have been able to hold on to it. That fight went on for years, and again, it was just one of those scrappy fights. The second anybody had an ultimate, they hit Q. It didn't matter what the ultimate was, it didn't matter what it was designed to do. We're all just gonna hit Q and pray to the Overwatch gods that something happens. And very luckily for Attuned, their ultimates, they fell into place so well, and they managed to stay alive long enough to get the respawn extension, because obviously the more people of the attacking team that are on the point, the longer the respawn for the defending team, and that is ultimately what caused them to be able to win that point, especially after we saw 3 people go down. We saw the Tracer managing to take out 2 of those people, and the Roadhog just wasn't able to get back onto point because of the spawn timers. So very well played there from Attuned, managing to hold on for so long. But here's where the problem comes in. They're not going to have a chance to attack. All they can do now is defend. And all Team Mist need is 1 tick in order to win this map out. 3.5 minutes to get 1 tick. It's not looking good for Attuned.
It's a hard fight, especially on first point of Temple of Anubis, where there's a lot of space to work with, and if Attuned aren't focusing on keeping their eyes on things like Metal Snow sneaking behind them with the McCree, it's not going to go well for them.
Yep, this is going to be very difficult. Oh, it looks like there's been a disconnect, which is unfortunate, but better now than in the middle of the game. You don't want to be losing that ult charge. And it looks like they are going to be running the Bastion bunker with the Orisa, and again, I really do like that. We're going to have the Orisa shielding off that Bastion, and of course, you'll have the Junkrat, who can, using his mine, his concussive mine, he'll be able to contest the point along with the D.Va, and of course rain spam damage from above. So this is a very good bunker composition. I believe Galtech was on that Batiste, but we're just going to have to give it a second for the game to load up. I'm not really going to talk too much about the attack until the time ticks down a little bit more, because again, this is a strange composition, and I highly doubt that this is what they're going to be rolling out on.
You don't think they're going to be running the Bastion with the Orisa? I mean, that's like the old school bunker. And Jagged Jack was doing some great spam damage with the
attack.
Junkrat. Oh, you're talking about the attack?
Yeah.
I was listening to you.
You know that I do that sometimes? You'll say something and I'm probably not even responding to what you said, and I'm like, I listened.
Yes, I'm aware. I'm aware of that fact. So Metal Snow was on the Tracer on the defense at the end of the previous round, so it's probably just still on that. I doubt that they're going to be running this. And if they do, you're going to be seeing Rael on the Winston, and then that's going to be a straight dive composition with a Genji. And that hasn't been seen in a while, the Genji Tracer dive. So it will be interesting if they do it, to see what effect they have. I think they are expecting the bunker comp from Attuned, and especially, I mean, if there's a Bastion and an Orisa, that dive could actually have great effect.
The dive will work wonders because look at how many heroes on the bunker composition have stacked armor. Winston just needs to jump on them and hold M1, and his ult charge will fly through the roof once he hits that primal rage. And he'll be juggling people in corners and smacking them up and down stairs, and it's going to create a ton of opening for his team to push in. Again, that's assuming they are going to be sticking with this dive. As you say, this is very old school dive. In fact, you very rarely see the Genji being picked above the Sombra. Sombra, of course, is fantastic when dealing with a bunker composition. You hack out that Bastion, or you hack the Diva so that she can't use defense matrix, and then it's so easy for your team to hit W and win these fights. In fact, we haven't seen too much Sombra. I think we've only seen Sombra for scouting purposes throughout this entire match, which is very strange because Sombra currently is one of the strongest heroes. Don't at me.
Yes, I agree that Sombra definitely has some potential if used right. I mean, you did see Attuned try to use the Sombra for the scouting purposes, and unfortunately, I think it just burnt their time down a little bit more than it should have, mainly because of the defense that Team Mist had set up, that the scout wasn't used to much value. But overall, the Sombra can definitely do a lot. And if you're coming against a bunker comp and you want to get behind that Bastion and then Orisa and just get a sneaky hack off, that could be huge. I don't see Team Mist playing a Sombra. They haven't indicated once throughout the previous 2 maps that they do ever play Sombra.
The thing is, though, the Sombra, the reason that it took so much for that scout to get any value is because he didn't leave his translocator in spawn. He like ran back, which was really strange, and of course a massive and colossal waste of time. But it looks like they're not going to be doing that this time around. They're not going to be doing any kind of scouting. They have an idea of what's going to be run. And again, I'm not going to talk about their composition until we get into like the last couple of seconds, because teams have been known to throw some serious debates at us.
Yeah, I mean, this is a proper bunker from Attuned, though. And Galtic switching onto that Baptiste. They're going to have the Immo field. They're going to have Shield, Bastion. It's going to be a hard fight if... Yeah, there we go. There's the Winston switch. And Drizzle going in without the Winston there for the main dive could be an interesting choice from Team Mist. Maybe a little bit too hasty, but the Winston does get there in support, and the main dive is going to happen now. As there we go, Rael does bounce on. Bubble may be a little bit of misplaced, but they are on the Bastion. Unable to do much. The Immo field just a little bit too strong for them in that engage, and they got to get out of there. But the back cap is there, and... that, I was so focused on the dive that I probably, if I was on Attuned right now, I would have done the same thing. I would have just ignored the back cap. Because I was so focused on that. Yeah, you were shouting back cap. So a little bit of a sneaky one there as the Tracer and the Lucio just sneak around the side.
I think Attuned are hating their lives right now. And
I'm hating my life right now. I didn't see the back cap. I was so focused on the dive. They bamboozled me too.
Bamboozled.
Bamboozled.
Well, there you have it.
Hard work is its own
Team Mist
reward.
will take this series 3-0.
Wonderful.
For the silliest... No. Am I talking nonsense? No. Didn't Attune... Jason? Am I
Team
going
Mist.
crazy?
Team Mist just won. What?
Was it Team Mist?
Yes. What do you mean? Team Mist is red. The red team just won.
Okay, yes. Okay, then I'm with you. Yes.
Are you feeling okay?
I don't know. I suspected that it was Team Mist, but for some reason I had like this epic blonde moment. And I was saying like, yeah, Team Mist, they did the thing. And then I was like, wait, what if it wasn't? And I felt like I just hit the Twilight Zone. So yeah, really well played. Good little back cap there. Yeah, I can't say much about that map, man. These teams, I've said most of what I need to say about them. Teamwork, synergy, coordination, communication. Like, those are the biggest things that I want to be seeing from these guys.
The 3 Cs.
Overall, there you go. Was it the 3 Cs? That wasn't
No.
3 Cs.
No.
Why are you bamboozling me when I'm already so bamboozled?
Teamwork, wait, you could replace teamwork with coordination. Coordination, communication, and composition? 3 Cs.
No, communication, coordination, alts, and teamwork.
No, but see, that's not the 3 Cs.
Okay, but there weren't 3 Cs. Why are you trying to make it into 3 Cs?
because it sounds cool.
Also, why are we forcing people to listen to us argue about this?
Why? Because what?
I broke him again, chat.
Thank you everyone for watching today's cast between Team Mist and Attuned. Well done to Team Mist as they go through to the something. Do you know?
I believe that they do go through to the semi-finals from here. This has been the elimination round. So they either go into the quarters or the semis now.
Okay, so they're going through to a thing, and then they can go through to another thing if they win that thing. Cool. Thank you guys for tuning into.
This is wait. This is important. These are the eliminations. The top 4 teams. These are the top 4 teams from qualifiers. So we had the 2 teams the other day and the 2 teams tonight, and so they will be going through to the semis. Team Mist will be going through to the semis, and then from there, yeah. There you go.
All right. Can I do my outro?
You can go for it.
Woo! All right, thank you. Thank you everyone for watching today's matchup between Attuned and Team Mist. Tune in for the next one, which will be a semi or quarter or something important. Thank you to ATK Arena for hosting the Overwatch Spotlight Takeover, where some sub 3,000 SR teams get to be coached by above 3,000 SR people and try to better themselves as teams in South Africa. And it's great to see them grow. Great to have everyone here supporting these teams. And we'll definitely see you on the next one. From me, Trinoc, and from Sam. I'm not going to let her talk anymore. You guys have been cool, and the teams have been cool. And we'll see everyone again later.
Bye.